Welcome to The Curve Weekly, the podcast that keeps you up to date with all of the money, business, and stock market tea.
Brought to you by the Curve's research team. It's the latest insights on what's happening in the stock market, companies, other money-related news so that you can stay educated and ahead of the curve.
You can thank us later for sounding smarter than those finance bros at your next dinner party.
Have you got anything you would like to share at the start of this podcast?
Well, it's actually a very special person's birthday in my life today.
Whose?
My sister's.
Is it?
Well, it was yesterday, but because we changed this to come out on a Tuesday now. But her birthday was yesterday. But it actually reminded me of a really funny thing that my mum sent me about her, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying this.
Oh my God, lol.
It's finance related, don't worry. It was a letter that she'd written to my grandma. So this is my sister, and she's probably like, I would say about 11, 12 years old, maybe 12. The handwriting's pretty good, so we'll go with 12. And it was when you did all the swirls and the hearts, you know, can you imagine the like notebook? And it's like every I has a little heart on the top. Every O is a heart, you know, like all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's really, really cute. And she goes to my grandma, I've been having a bit of trouble with my money as it keeps on disappearing on me. Well, I suppose I need to learn a few spending rules, although I am surviving the way I spend now, but just not well enough. I think it's about time I end this letter. Sorry, it's been such a boring one. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Lots of love from Sarah. It was just, I thought it was very, very cute.
But even the idea at that age, she's thinking about that.
I know, yeah.
Your mum must have been talking to you guys so early about how to be better with your money.
It keeps disappearing on me like it's magic. It appears, then it's gone, and it appears. It's quite cute. Anyway, happy birthday, Sarah. I love you lots. Very proud, very proud.
She's got an amazing brand, Harris Tapper, which I actually just got a little package from.
Oh, here she goes.
That I bought, by the way, not gifted. Spent a lot of money, but love it all.
Also love this new Sophie Horright, which is in her spending era.
Do you? I'm a bit worried because I logged onto my Monzo last night, which is like my online. So we got paid 3 days ago and I have less than £1,000. And I thought, holy shit, I shouldn't be doing this. I need to have more of a plan. I kind of decided to spend a couple of months just like letting myself go, not being too tight and rigid, and it's just been a terrible idea.
And now you're regretting free-spirited Sophie in the money side of things.
Well, I love the clothes that are hanging up in my room right now. Beautiful new coat, amazing cashmere, cream, high-necked top that I can't wait to wear.
Sell some old stuff, make you feel better.
Yeah. So actually on that, I told my sister I need those clothes back.
She's going to be like, F you, Vic, F you.
She was like, the things you gifted me. I was like, yep.
I need them to you.
So I'm going to sell those.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was totally my influence.
Also just sisters and clothes. Like it's the one thing you always fight about, isn't it?
I know.
She actually was quite graceful. She was like, okay, well, you'll have to come pick it up then.
Oh, that's so good. Passive aggressive.
I'm going to need her to model them because I don't fit them. So I might have to give her a commission of everything I sell.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I am actually in Copenhagen at the moment, and I have got on the vintage secondhand shopping bandwagon. Oh my goodness. The vintage shopping here is insane. Like beautiful stores. Like, I'm like, is this a secondhand store?
I want to know what kind of stuff you bought. Like, what do they look like?
I've bought an epic bomber jacket.
Oh my God. Can you show me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, this is not finance related, but well, it kind of is.
It is.
Can you see? It's like brown. It's like cropped.
Oh my God. It's so cool. Is it really warm?
So warm. I bought this jumper I'm wearing.
What color is that?
It's like a grey, like oversized, baggy. It's like massive. Nice. This necklace.
Oh my God, you bought heaps. This is so good.
A dress, a vintage skirt. Everything's vintage. It's like amazing. Honestly, I'm blown away.
Do you think it's because you're not you're on holiday? I know you've been kind of working while you're there, but like, do you think because you have the time and space to wander without being like, oh, I need to get this, and this, you've enjoyed it more?
Yeah. I think it's also just being with people that are encouraging. Like, yes, you look great in that. Yeah, you have to get it. You have to get it. I was actually laughing. We were all in the store the other day at the rationality of like what goes through our heads in terms of, oh, yeah, no, you'll wear it heaps. No, you can wear it in summer and winter. Oh, and it will look great for this event. You know, you're rationalizing yourself. It's quite funny.
Vic, are you using your actual microphone? It sounds kind of shit quality.
I am now. Sorry. Technical issues.
Oh, I was like, it's sounding weird. Okay, great. That sounds much better.
And speaking of fashion, there has actually been a lot going on in the fashion and investment world. So this is a really great segue to talk about one of the biggest deals in luxury fashion that just got blocked.
What do you mean blocked?
Tapestry. So Tapestry is a $10 billion company. It's listed on the New York Stock Exchange and it owns the likes of Coach, Kate Spade, brands you may have heard of. And then there's another company called Capri Holdings and that is also listed on the New York Stock Exchange, except it's a bit smaller. It's worth $5 billion. And it owns the brands Versace, Jimmy Choo, Michael Kors. Anyway, they've made a takeover of Capri Holdings. Tapestry has decided to take over Capri Holdings in an $8.5 billion US deal, but the regulators are like, you know what? No, that is bringing too many brands under one roof and we're not having it. So they're going through the process now of, you know, will they, won't they? Can they get it through? Can they not? But the key thing here is that, and I remember we spoke about it last week around takeovers and how awesome it would be if you owned the company that was about to get taken over, the share price rises, but then something like this could happen where the regulator comes in and goes, actually, it's not going to happen, and the share price falls again. So very topical considering what we we're talking about last week in the Curve Weekly as well.
Question. What is the difference between LVMH or Amazon or all those other millions of giant companies that are huge monopolies? Why is this particular one being blocked?
Because the brands are too similar and they're selling to very similar demographics and target markets. Whereas LVMH, you're buying champagne brand, you're buying a jewelry brand, you're buying lots of different brands that operate in different markets. But it is actually a really good question because this is how the luxury houses expand, is that they acquire new brands and bring them under their umbrella. So if this one gets stopped, then what does that mean for all the other ones that are trying to make acquisitions as well? Does that mean that they'll get stopped? So it is a bit of an issue in terms of what it means for the broader kind of luxury fashion houses. But also Tapestry and Capri are mainly apparel, if you think about it. So they're mainly clothing, handbags, shoes, again, which all operates in the same space, whereas LVMH, you've got lots of different products and brands.
Has it got anything to do with the idea of someone buying a company and then just swallowing it up because it's competition?
Oh, definitely. That happens all the time.
But is that why they could be blocking it if it's all similar brands and products? Is there a part of it where they're like, no, you're just going to ruin all these cute businesses? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there an element of that? Or I
think that's more of what happens with the tech companies, because it might be new technology that they're scared of or new technology that might disrupt their existing technology, for example. So they'll buy the competition. It's like when Instagram went to buy Snapchat, you know, it probably saw Snapchat as a threat and was like, you know what, we're better to buy it than try and build our own similar platform. And then Snapchat was like, nah, see you later, we don't want to be bought. So then Instagram was like, okay, we'll launch our own. So it depends. There's different rationalities for takeovers, but it's also, I mean, for example, Tapestry might buy Capri and be like, we really like Versace, we like Jimmy Choo, but Michael Kors is a bit meh, so we'll just wind that one down. But that's up to them. They can make those decisions because
they'll... Oh, that's so shit. Imagine if you'd built a business up from scratch and then someone was just like, we'll wind that one down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be horrible. But that's what you do when you sell a business or you publicly list it. It's kind of you're at the free will of someone else making those decisions, really.
God, imagine just be sitting at home making crumpets for breakfast and seeing in the news Jimmy Choo's being wound down after he spent like 30 years on it.
But this is how a lot of these luxury companies expand and build their empires. So if this gets blocked, it's like, oh gosh, what does that mean for them buying other companies? Is it going to be harder? Does that mean there's less growth for LVMH going forward? All that kind of stuff comes into play. So yeah.
What are some of the other big LVMH examples of companies who have lots of different luxury brands?
So Kering, which also owns Gucci, Bottega, Saint Laurent, Alexander McQueen, Balenciaga. That's another big one. There's quite a few of them. I think you'd be surprised. Like even H&M owns a ton of different brands under that parent company. The same with Inditex, so these are more fast fashion now that I'm talking about. Inditex owns Zara plus a whole lot of other brands. Like it's not just usually one brand they own. They want to target different markets, have different brands, different price points, good diversification.
Is there a chance that this sale won't be blocked and that it will go through and it was just a bit of a scare? Or is it kind of a done deal where it's just not happening and everyone else is a bit like, shit, what does that mean?
It could go either way. So when things like this get blocked or get put under the scrutiny of the regulator, there can be ways you can get around it. So they might be like, look, okay, we promise we'll keep Versace and Jimmy Choo running, but we'll shut down Michael Kors. Or we promise we will only buy the brand in the US and not in Europe because Europe's where you're worried about. You know, it depends what the regulator is worried about. Or it's like, okay, we'll just buy Versace and Jimmy Choo and we'll sell Michael Kors to someone else. So there is ways you can alter the deal, I guess, to get it through the regulator. But it also they might just be like, you know what, too hard basket. Like, screw it, we're going to go buy someone else. You're too hard to purchase. But quite an amazing combination of brands if it does happen. Yeah, another big fashion house will exist. So there'll be 3 of them, Kering, LVMH, and whatever this one becomes.
Quite exciting.
Also, so one of my favorite companies, can you guess which one, Soph?
Microsoft.
Yeah, gold star.
You're so predictable.
I know. So there's 2 bits of exciting news with Microsoft. So firstly, it has joined forces with BlackRock, which is the world's biggest fund manager, and launched a $30 billion fund to invest in artificial intelligence. So this is the biggest investment vehicle, so the biggest investment fund that has ever been raised in Wall Street history. So this is a big deal. And it just goes to show, like, they wouldn't be raising this much money and investing this much money if there wasn't the demand ahead, if that makes sense. So the fact that they're putting this much into the artificial intelligence space is major.
Oh, this makes me think I should never have made fun of you talking about Microsoft all the time and actually maybe invested a long time ago. And also maybe into just a ETF that is like an AI ETF because I don't really know a whole lot about this space, but I'm totally 100% sold and on board with the fact that this is the next massive thing.
Yeah, and so this fund is purely going to be building data centers and energy projects to help meet the growing demand of AI. So one thing that when we use AI, it's so energy intensive. Like, it produces so much energy. Like, to power that much data just takes so much energy that they're having to build these more and more data centers to house this infrastructure. And so it comes, and I was having this conversation with a friend here in Copenhagen around the dichotomy of investing in AI, but also wanting what's good for the planet, because the use of AI is having detrimental impacts on the planet. So I thought this was quite interesting for you, Soph, because I know how much you're like, I want to invest in clean technology. I don't want to invest in fast fashion, which is great. But also it's like, it's a real sticking point, because if you're using AI, it's so bad for the environment, but it's also like, it's really good for my productivity and it's going to be game changing for the world. Yeah, it's a hard one.
Oh, this is a real not problem, but just like moral dilemma, because it makes you think, if I'm looking to the future and what we could achieve with AI and what that could look like, it's really exciting. And it's also a completely, in my head, I guess the way that I look at waste when it comes to single-use plastic and fashion and all of those things, I sometimes struggle to merge the two together when it comes to technology, because I know that there are all these big data centers being built. And even if we look at crypto, like the amount of energy it takes to create cryptocurrencies, like it's kind of foreign because you can't see it. It's not tangible.
Yeah.
Whereas differently to other types of waste that's like so obvious and taking up space and detrimental to the planet in different ways.
It's more tangible. You can see it in front of you. You know, you can see it happening. It's a lot more visible. Whereas, turning on your computer and typing something into ChatGPT, you're like, how can that be having an impact on the environment? But throwing something out into the rubbish bin, that's much more obvious.
It's kind of like when we talk about the difference between investing in stocks or investing in property, and how, you know, so many people feel more comfortable vocally and like more outwardly supporting the property market because they can see, touch, live in their houses. There's something much more physical about that investment. So it feels more natural to go down that way, if that makes sense, when it comes to investing. But actually investing in the stock market can be much more lucrative.
Yeah.
But when it comes to waste and, oh gosh, I actually don't really know how I feel about this.
It's kind of like, and this is why you almost have to set boundaries for yourself, or almost write a list of like, okay, where am I going to personally draw the line for my investments? Is it going to be, I'm not going to invest in oil exploration companies or production companies because they're literally digging in the ground and hurting the planet? Or is it that you're going to go right the way down the spectrum and be like, and I'm not even going to invest in AI companies or use AI? You know, like you just have to decide personally, where do you draw that line? And it might be very different between you and me or you and someone else. And that's fine, as long as you've come to the realization or the satisfaction of where you draw those boundaries, because otherwise it will literally consume you.
I think the argument that I would have with AI and technology in general and cryptocurrencies, and this might sound really naive and uneducated, but we don't need that. Yes, it's going to increase productivity. Yes, it's amazing what it could do. But to be devil's advocate, we would be really happy living on a farm, growing our own vegetables. Like, we're constantly in this tail chasing situation where like we need more, we need better, we need faster, we need and actually
it's capitalism.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I mean, is like if I look at AI and how much, yes, it could really impact the planet. If I'm having my planet hat on, I would say we don't need it. If I had my business hat on, I would say phenomenal. That's quite amazing.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different ways that you can look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Vic. This is really such a debate.
Yeah.
I think if we've got anyone in our audience, in our community who either is really competent talking about environmental impacts or capitalism or like this entire conversation, I'd love to talk more about it.
But honestly, I think the more you talk about it, the more frustrated you get, because there's no defined answer of like, yes, you're a good person if you don't invest in AI, or you're a good person if you invest in AI, but you also invest in clean technology. Yeah, it's frustrating because you want a box tick and you want someone to be like, it's okay to do X, Y, Z. But really, that decision has to come down to you, and you have to be satisfied that you've made the decision for the reasons you've made that decision.
I feel really icky. Can we move on to the next one?
Yeah. Just leave you with that for your day. So the second big news with Microsoft, it has announced the biggest ever. We've got a lot of evers here.
Is it a share buyback?
Yes, it is.
Ooh. Okay, can I explain this to anyone that doesn't know?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so a share buyback is essentially like when someone has the biggest vote of confidence for their own business and the success that they know is coming. So let's just say that the curve is about to buy, oh my God, imagine, like a trading platform, and we think this is going to be huge, 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 and we want to buy our investors out because we actually want to benefit from what we know is coming business-wise. So we buy all our investors out. That's the idea of a share buyback. So if Microsoft thinks what they're doing is going to have such an enormous impact on their bottom line, they want to own as much of their own shares as possible. So they're buying shares back from people.
Yeah, amazing. Well done. Gold star. Clap, 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 clap. Very well done.
Thank you so much.
But if we did that, that would actually be illegal because
would it?
that's called insider trading. But but you were conceptually correct. If we could just see the opportunity, the massive opportunity ahead of us with the curve, and we could see, okay, we're going to launch in the US and we're going to go crazy, and we've got all these people that want to sign up to the investing club, and if we could see all that ahead in terms of we were just optimistic about the future. But if you can see a deal coming, or you know a deal is about to happen that's going to be game changing, then that's not okay. But you were 99.999% correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And so, yes, it's a big, big green flag. And the fact that it's the biggest ever share buyback is also another super, super big green flag. They also announced an increase in their dividend, another green flag. Yeah, so they're just greening all around, which obviously I love.
Greening? They're greening out.
They're greening all around. So this is crazy. The first time in nearly 50 years, China is increasing its retirement age. 50 years.
By how much?
So men now 3 years older, so going from 60 to 63 is their retirement age.
60 is so young to retire.
Yes, China has one of the lowest retirement ages in the world.
That's amazing.
Well, there's reasons for it.
Is it because they work them so hard up until that point that they actually just have got to make it lower?
Yes, and the majority of their labour is
physical.
What we call blue collar. So it's like physical labor. Yeah. And so it's much easier on the body to have corporate jobs and less intensive. And for women, they've been retiring for the last 50 years at 50 years old. So it's now going to 55 years old.
But we're nearly 50. That's like us retiring in a few years.
Oh my God, you know what that reminds me of? Like, these are our years, Kendall. You're 30. And she's like, I'm not 30. So.
It's not far away. I think I've got much more than 17 years in the tank to work.
Do you know I'm closer to 50 than I was to like school? Oh my God, I just had it. Oh my God. Let me just go and spiral. Oh my God, I'm crying.
Are you actually?
I think I'm just going to have a little quarter life crisis. I mean, you throw these numbers around, but like, holy fucking shit. Oh my God, us at 50?
I know, we'll be cute.
Oh, we'll be so cute. But anyway, this change is not going to happen overnight. So it's not like people are sitting there at 49 thinking they're going to retire next year and now they've got to wait another 6 years. That's not happening. They do stagger it. So they're staggering it over the next 15 years. But it's a really good reminder that the retirement age in New Zealand, for example, is 65 years old. But by the time we get there, it might be 70, 75, so we are planning to retire at 65 in terms of our financial planning. But really, we might need to add a buffer of like 5-10 years onto that.
Shit balls. That is huge. What do we do with that? Are we meant to add an extra 10 years into retirement just in case in terms of our financial plan?
I would say 5 is probably good.
Ugh, how annoying. That's like a lot more money.
But this is why you should start early. Give yourself time. Give yourself time.
Do you want to do a fun little pitch for the 20-year holiday for anyone that's feeling like me, a bit like, ugh?
Yes. So if you want to live your 20-year holiday in style, listen to me, kids.
Nice.
Start saving now. Don't spend your money on frivolous vintage items.
No, but I think we also need to reframe. It's not even saving, it's investing. We want to invest, not save.
Yes.
Just for anyone listening, maybe for the first time, she's not talking about savings in the bank. She's talking about investing.
I mean, put your money away for a later date and then you will have a much better 20-year holiday.
Nice.
But I just want to put this in perspective. So China's retirement ages are going up. So it'll be 63 for men, 55 for women. But if we look at that compared to New Zealand's 65 years old, Australia's 67, and the UK is in the middle at 66. So it's not even anywhere near Australia, New Zealand, or the UK.
Can I just for a second, did you say it's going to be 63 for men in China and 50-something for women? Why is there such a disparity between men and women's retirement age, whereas for New Zealand and Australia it's not gendered?
Good question, Sophie. I'm not sure.
We'll do a bit of research on that and come back because I am absolutely dying to get to this very quick headline next.
Oh, here she goes.
I could not believe this when I saw it. This is just the funniest thing ever.
So we are saying goodbye to Tupperware parties, which just remind me of like Desperate Housewives vibes, you know? Back in the 80s, everyone would come around and have a Tupperware party.
Would they actually have Tupperware parties? I'm always looking in my drawer like, where the fuck is the Tupperware?
I know.
I can never find the lid or the container that fits.
And then I know it's so annoying. It's like having odd socks. You put the socks in the wash and it comes out with one and you're like, where did it go? You know?
I'm convinced. Actually, do you know what's this amazing tip that someone told me recently, which probably most people know, but a really good way to not lose heaps of socks is when you take your washing out of the washing machine, you do a spin and then more socks drop out.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how, but it happens.
It's a really good tip. I also take my Tupperware to work and then leave it at work and then someone else must take it because it's like hair ties. They just disappear into the ether.
Yeah, there's so many Tupperware containers at work. I actually was thinking I might take some home.
Yeah, do it.
Do a little recycle, you know.
They're just going to go in the bin. But yes, Tupperware has filed for bankruptcy, so no longer exists or no longer will exist. And this is all around the fact that it had $700 million of debt that it just couldn't pay back. So the only other option was to file for bankruptcy. Now, I want to put this debt number into perspective. So it has $700 million of debt, and the size of the company is only $23 million.
Oh.
So it has debt 30 times the size of the entire company.
Shit, that's a lot of debt.
That's scary amounts of debt. You ain't paying that back.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so Tupperware's just been really struggling. It's had intense competition, bad management, lack of innovation.
Even if I think about Tupperware, it's mainly plastic. There's so many other amazing alternatives now, whether it be metal, or glass, different types of materials. Like they really had a mare. There's not a huge amount of innovation that needs to happen there. Like the same type of containers, maybe different shapes and different materials. They're not reinventing something absolutely wild. It's one of those things you look at. It's not as though you're pivoting an entire industry to digital. It's quite straightforward, I would have thought.
Well, it is now. I think back in the day, it wasn't. And that's why people had these Tupperware parties, was that people would come round and the hostess of the Tupperware party would show the new range of Tupperware and then people would buy it. So it was like...
Wait, there was actual Tupperware parties?
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke.
No, it's literally like I'd invite all my friends around and I would lay out the newest range of Tupperware. I'm almost like a sales assistant. And then
it's like a pyramid scheme.
It was mainly for housewives back in like the 60s and 70s. And you'd come around, you'd be like, oh gosh, this is great for my lasagna. And then you would purchase the new range of Tupperware.
Bizarre.
But the share price of Tupperware in 2014 was its highest it's ever been. It was $93. It's now 50 cents. So if you'd put in $1,000 in 2014, so 10 years ago, you'd now have $5 left.
Ouch.
Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. But we actually had someone message in about this news and they said, well, isn't it good for Sistema, which is a New Zealand company? And I was like, you're onto something here. Sistema was bought by Newell Brands a few years ago, which is a public company. And so you can actually invest in Sistema through Newell Brands. But yes, she was 100% right.
Oh, that's so amazing when you see people from the community coming up with like genius ideas and thoughts.
Totally. When a competitor is removed almost, then yeah, it allows for growth of existing brands, existing companies. So I was like, you are on to it. Well, Soph's on holiday next week, which is very exciting, on a boat. It's kind of like you're in Vispasna again.
What did you just call it?
It's like you're in Vispasna again. Vispasna?
Called Vipassana.
Vispasna.
This was a 10-day meditation retreat that I did 4 years ago. And Vic was like, what? I can't even text you or call you. I was like, no, it's phones off. Like, I'm meditating for 10 days.
It's like we're joined at the hip and I'm like literally going to have an identity crisis if you're gone.
No, I mean, my dad did say apparently there can be some internet when we're on the water. We're on a boat, which is quite exciting. Actually, do you know what's an interesting thing? At what age do you stop expecting, okay, this is going to sound really privileged, not expecting, but assuming your parents would pay for something, whether that be you go out for dinner with them or you're going on holiday. Like, this is one of those times where we're all chipping in. We're hiring a boat and we're going around the Croatian islands and we're all paying for it. It's not like I'm going on a family holiday that my parents are taking me on. And last night we went out for dinner and my sister and I paid for the meal because it was like, we can, and also so nice. They've flown across the world. But it's just kind of interesting, like I don't know really what I'm trying to say, but when you're younger, if you go on holiday with your family, generally they've paid for it.
It's funny, we were just talking about this with friends I'm here in Copenhagen with, and it was like, yeah, now when you travel with your parents, it's like everyone chips in and everyone pays their own way. And I honestly can't remember when that changed for me. But now I would never expect them to pay for my holiday. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Or food. I mean, I know that's unrealistic for them. If we go to a beach club, we're splitting the bill. That's not.
Yeah.
It's just like going with friends. Just because they're older, they are absolutely not paying for food, drink, petrol for the boat. It's a shared holiday and it's a shared expense. But I just was like, I don't remember when that switched. I don't remember when all of a sudden it wasn't my responsibility. Do you know what I mean? Like how old I was.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people that have always had to pay or split. Because I remember God, it would have been 8 years ago. I had a friend who I shared a studio with. He was like 24 and they were going out for dinner. And it was like a BYO. All the kids were bringing their own wine. Everyone pays their own meal. And they were like, 23, 24. I was such a privileged little brat. I just assumed under the age of probably 20, definitely 25, that it wouldn't be my responsibility.
I think it's when you start earning money or earning, you start paying your own way. You're living your own life. You've moved out. You're paying rent. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. I'm going to ask my parents.
Same. I want to know.
When was the decision for them to make me start paying for my own holidays and stuff? Anyway, lovely to chat.
Oh my God, Vic. I'm going to ABBA tonight.
Oh my God.
Like the show, it's a holographic concert. We're all dressing up. Quite fun.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Have fun.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to The Curve Weekly. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all the money, biz and stock market news. And if you like what you heard, we would love a review. Thank you.
Yes, we would love a review. But if you did hate it, please, don't leave one if you hate it. No, but in all seriousness, could you please leave a review? Because it really helps other people find our cute little podcast.
And we hope you have a good week and see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye. Sweet. Yeah. See you next Tuesday. Lol. See you next Tuesday. I mean Monday.
No, actually though, new episodes out every Tuesday.